Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use on-chain data to make better informed decisions when investing in NFTs. So this video is basically inspired by this tweet I put out last night. As you can see here, this was my first approach at purchasing an NFT solely based on the data. So I didn't really look at the art at all. I just looked at on-chain data from Nansen. I'll be showing you how I use Nansen as a platform, but I'm also going to tell you how you can actually access this data if you don't want to subscribe to Nansen. Nansen just aggregates it and presents it in a way that's much easier. So I think it would be fun just to look at this NFT before we get in the example. So this is the exact one I purchased, and if we scroll down, you can see I purchased it for 0.39 ETH late last night. Now this was all done before the Creature World NFT really blew up. So right now it's actually tripled or quadrupled in value. The floor is much higher. You can ignore this current price here. I just set it at something ridiculously high. But if we go over to the project as a whole and look at the floor, you can see the floor is about 1.6 ETH to purchase a Creature World NFT. Of course, this is one example, so it's possible this was just dumb luck, but I still think the data I'm going to go over in this video is going to be helpful for you when you're researching new projects. Now here we are on the Nansen dashboard. They do a lot for DeFi in general, but this video we're solely going to be focusing on NFTs. So if we just click more here, we can go to NFT and then NFT Paradise, which is going to be the main NFT dashboard where you can start your research. There are really 5 things you're going to want to pay attention to before investing in an NFT collection if you're not just interested in purchasing the art. So the first thing I do when I'm researching is I change how this dashboard is presented. So I actually want to see the most recent contracts that were deployed. The reason for this is that you really want to get in an NFT project early. So if you do this, it will just show you the most recent NFT launches, and from there we can see if there are any outliers. Now that we've sorted by contract date, and again, this is something you can do on OpenSea or Etherscan if you don't have a Nansen subscription, we can now start to look at the volume here all the way on the left, and this is going to tip us off to any really popular project. So we're on the first page here, and it doesn't look like there's anything sticking out yet. So we'll just go to the next page here, page 2. So if we look here on the left, you can see there's 3 things that really stick out when we consider volume. Now the first is Mutant Ape Yacht Club. That's a Bored Ape Yacht Club derivative project. So of course that's going to be very popular. But the next 2 we see are Creature World here and Al Cabones. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to focus on Creature World. So let's just pick that one to dive a bit deeper in. So the third really important thing I like to look at is the number of wallets that actually hold this NFT collection. Now this is something that's extremely important that I'll get into in just a minute, but I want to show you why this was such an outlier to me. Bear in mind that there's only 10,000 NFTs in the Creature World ecosystem, so 4,478, which you can see here, is actually quite a bit. I think it's worth highlighting here that when we compare this by the number of wallets, you can see there's actually more holders of Creature World NFTs than Cool Cats, and Cool Cats has been around for a long time. So that's why I was intrigued with it. That was really the third thing that tipped me off to look into Creature World. So why is this such an important metric? Well, there's a few reasons. Now the first is going to be it signals a ton of interest. So it's not going to be one person purchasing a ton of NFTs. It's going to be distributed across the NFT community, which is obviously important. More people just simply know about this project and are interested enough to at least buy it. Now the second reason it's very important is simply that it means there's going to be fewer people holding a ton of Creature World NFTs that they're going to be in profit on, and that they'll end up dumping or selling back at the floor price. Now the last reason is if there's 5,000 or so holders in this case, that means there's just more people to talk about it on social media, to generate a buzz, to generate derivatives, and just to expand upon the project. So again, very important metric that you want to track. I do want to talk a bit about the average price, which is a column you can see here. So you can see here the average price is 1.33 ETH, which is now a bit higher, but when I was looking at this project and the average price was say 0.3 or 0.4 ETH, that was a big outlier because there was a ton of volume. There were a ton of different individual wallet holders, but the average price was still quite low. What that meant to me is perhaps price was lagging and that the price would catch up, which it actually did. So now that I've given you a brief overview of how to actually find projects, and again, you can find all of this data on Etherscan and OpenSea, it's just going to take you a bit longer. I think it's important to show you how to actually dive deeper and look into a project specifically. So we're just going to continue the theme of Creature World, and I will just click on the project here, and you can see it's going to bring me to this project specific dashboard. So I think it's helpful just to peruse this. You can see volume has exploded. Price usually follows volume with NFTs, so that's done the same. And all very fascinating. But what's most important here is if we scroll on the left, we can look at this individual transactions graph. So what's really cool here is Nansen actually splits out who's buying this NFT. So you can see they have notable buyers in yellow. What that essentially is Nansen is able to label wallet addresses, and ones that are successful investors or whales or collect a lot of NFTs, they get that label, and pretty much everyone else gets a blue label. What's really interesting here is you can see when I was looking at this project, there were a ton of notable buyers. Now that has trickled off to a degree, so you might think maybe this project is past its prime, but very interesting to see that there was a huge concentration of notable buyers buying at the same time. It's hard to reach a definitive conclusion from this, but you have to understand that a lot of these people that are notable buyers have inside information. They have a ton of capital to deploy and a lot of resources to promote a project, so definitely worth following this. If you want to find this information yourself in Etherscan, you would basically go to the token address for this NFT, and then you could track who the top holders of the NFT were. And if there were any that stood out to you, you could then start following their activity manually. So next up, we can switch to the breakdown tab, and this is really where Nansen shines. So you can see the actual balance changes of different notable NFT collectors. Now, a few interesting things here. You can see there's a couple people, notable people, that are purchasing a ton of these NFTs and haven't actually sold them. But you can see the majority of people that held a lot of these NFTs have already sold most of their collection. So maybe you might see this and think, well, maybe it's time to sell. Maybe everyone's getting out of this project because its time has passed. But on the flip side of that, you could also make the argument that a lot of these notable investors have a 10x or a 5x, and it just makes sense for them to cash out. It's a healthy thing to do. If you're new to this, it's really helpful to model after these experienced NFT collectors. So it really helps to track these wallets. Again, you can do that in Etherscan and see what they're doing in regards to the collections you've invested in. You can also get new ideas if you see them invest in a project that you think has potential. Now on the last tab, trades here, this is going to show you the top addresses that are purchasing here, which is really interesting, but I like to scroll to the bottom here. And here's another breakdown of the legendary collectors chart. So we can see actually when the largest collectors of NFTs are purchasing the NFTs in this collection. So on the x-axis here is time, and you can see as time has gone on, that's about 24 hours, the amount of legendary investors purchasing into this project has decreased a bit. Scrolling down a bit, we can see the smart money chart, and you can see all of the smart money activity happened earlier on. That was people probably buying the mint. That was insiders buying based on what friends and other insiders were doing. So again, you would see this and think a lot of that is concentrated here. Maybe it's a bit late to invest. Now going back to the NFT I purchased, I hope I gave you a highlight of the data I used to make an informed decision. Now I hope that was helpful for you. I do recommend Nansen, but of course you can do this manually. It's just going to take a bit more time. But with that said, as far as this specific NFT goes, I'll probably just hold it for now. I have no plans to sell it. It's pretty decently in profit, so that's obviously great. So I understand this concept of taking a data-driven approach to NFT investing is a bit new, so I will link our Discord below where a lot of us enjoy talking about this and you can learn more there. Now with that said, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.